Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It is me, your Chicago Sherpa, here with a video that I feel like is long overdue. I did a lot of research on this one and I really feel like if someone did this itinerary, it would be like the perfect weekend in Chicago. Also, if someone does this, please let me know. I would die inside. This itinerary is really built for your new to Chicago girly. Maybe you've been here once, but you're not an expert on the city. You really want some cool local spots, but you still want to do some of the more traditional Chicago touristy things. This isn't for your Midwest girl who's been up here 10 times and is looking for a unique locals guide to Chicago where every single thing is new. I can do one of those in the future too. If you want that, comment down below. But this one's gonna be more of your get your feet wet in the city kind of vibe. Whoa, I drank a coffee in the afternoon and I am ready to rock. Here we go, let's start. Number one, my biggest recommendation of a place to stay is Sentral. So I've stayed in quite a few of the different hotels within the city. I don't really think you can go wrong. Sentral has been my favorite one. I've done a staycation there. It's in South Loop. All of the views are beautiful. It's the only time ever that I've been in Chicago where I've actually got to watch the sunrise over the lake in the morning. Oh, so pretty. I love them so much. They have offered a discount code so you can get 10% off of your stay if you use discount code Kyra while staying there. That's really, really cool. But they're like furnished apartments. So it's not just like staying in a hotel room. You actually have like a washer dryer and like a fridge for all of your leftovers. Much cooler vibe. You can stay there anywhere from a night to like 9 months if you wanted to. That's my recommendation on place to stay. All right, you're all checked into Sentral. Next up, walk your little booty up the park and head over to the Bean. You can't go to Chicago without taking an obligatory Bean Pic. I have more pictures in front of the Bean than like I've ever needed. And there's going to be so many more to come. Everybody wants to go to the Bean for a picture, but it's really easy to do. It's right off of the park and they do always turn out really cool. You don't have to pay anything to go see it. So highly recommend just walk up there, check that one off your list and get it done. From there, it's probably like late afternoon, early evening time frame. So perfect time for a little bevy and happy hour. I highly recommend going and checking out the game room at the Chicago Athletic Association. It is just a really, really cool vibe in there. They do have games in there like shuffleboard and what's the name of the game where you roll the ball and you are supposed to get it close to the small ball? Bocce ball. They have that too. They have a bunch of cool stuff in there, but it's like a very old Chicago timey feeling bar. It is just a really, really cool spot in there. They used to have a great happy hour. I tried to confirm from their website and I called and they didn't answer. So I'm not sure if they still do happy hour anymore, but if they do, their cheeseburger, getting a cheeseburger is not part of this itinerary because you're about to go to dinner, but their cheeseburger is really, really good. Regardless, it's a really cool spot to check out. If that's not really your vibe, you want something a little bit fancier, plus you really are looking for a happy hour, Venteux is right up the street and that one is in the Hotel of the Pendry. Such a cool place. I love Venteux. They used to do dollar oysters, but I looked at their happy hour menu and I think they're $2 oysters now, which is like the inflation on that hurts my soul because I freaking love oysters. A really cool spot. Also just feels like old timey Chicago. I love Venteux. And any of their happy hour bar snacks are delicious. I freaking love beef tartare. It's a cool spot. Time for dinner. Let's mange. If you're new to the city and you've never been before, you do have to have deep dish pizza. As people who live in Chicago, you never eat deep dish pizza, but I feel like if you're visiting, you kind of just have to do it. I recommend Malnatis. There's one right up in Michigan Ave, so you could quickly just pop right up there. There's also Giordano's. I just don't think it's as good. I like Lou's a lot better. If you wanted something more local, you'd have to go further out. And honestly, I think Lou's is pretty stinking good if you're looking for a deep dish pizza. So you can go there, or if you're like, meh, sounds cool, but not really for me, and you want something just a little bit more like what someone who lives in Chicago would do, I recommend going into River North and going to Avec. Avec is delicious. Everything I've ever had there is just really, really good. It's like upscale American food. They have a pretty wide variety of a menu. I will say if you are gluten-free and dairy-free, I went with a friend who's gluten-free and dairy-free before and that was a really hard restaurant, but just a really cool, very pretty vibe. Going to Venteux and then to Avec for dinner is like, you better be dressing cute. That's a good night out. All right, let's go grab a post-dinner bevy before wandering home. I'm like nervous to tell you about this recommendation because this is my spot. And if everyone starts going there and I am no longer able to get in, I'll be very sad. This is not one for everyone. This is one for my friends. You guys are my friends. Don't share this. Green Door Tavern. Green Door Tavern is so cool. I'd seen it for years and I'd never gone. And then I went and I was like, this is my favorite bar ever. It's just all the vibes. Upstairs in Green Door Tavern is just kind of like an old school Chicago divey bar. Like the bartenders really don't give a shit. The drinks are good. It's nothing fancy. It's just a cool local spot. But then if you go downstairs, that's where the Drifter is. and the Drifter is a speakeasy and honestly one of the coolest places I've ever been in the city. There's quite a few little speakeasies around, but this one's like an original, authentic one from way back in the day. Their performances are my favorite. I think it's a $10 cover to get in. It's pretty small in there, so you do often have a wait, but what I love about it is they have a stage and they'll do different performances up on stage, but they're usually only like 15 minutes, and then the rest of the time they just have like cool music playing, which is great, so that way you can watch like a 15 minutes performance and then have 45 minutes to like chat with your friends, and then another 15-minute performance and then 45 minutes to chat with your friends, which I just felt like is a really good balance. Last time I was there was a beatboxer, there was a jazz singer who sang Taylor Swift covers. It's just unique and so cool. Don't all go there at once, because then I can't go and I'll be sad. After that, you're probably pretty pooped. Let's call it a night, because Saturday is going to be a big day. Starting off strong Saturday morning, get up and head over to West Loop and go get brunch at the Publican. Publican is really known for its breads, its meats. People will go and like buy Publican bread for their bread in their house because it is super good. The actual place, I think it's called Publican Quality Meats is like its full name, but everyone just calls it Publican. However, their brunch, it's heavy, it's delicious. It'll make you feel ready and fueled up to hit the ground running on a full Chicago day. Once you've been to the Publican, I recommend going back into the Loop and going to the Art Institute. The Art Institute is huge. You could really spend all day in there, but it's so beautiful and it is a great place to be able to spend a day when the weather's cold and not great outside, which is basically all of spring. So unless you're going in summer, just go to the Art Institute. It's cool. Don't feel overwhelmed if you're not able to see everything. I have gone and tried to do everything and just been like exhausted by the end of it. So just go at your pace, see what you can, and then when you're tired, you need to call it. It's okay. It's okay. After that, head back to Sentral. You can stop into some shops along the way. You're going down State Street. There's a lot of cool stuff to look at all the way down there. I just think the Loop is such a neat vibe that since you walked up the park the day before, I would walk down State Street and kind of just see all the coolness that is the Loop. You'd walk past Harold Washington Library, all the shops. I love it. Once you get back to Sentral, go take a little like afternoon naparooski, just like a small one, just kind of zen out for a little bit. Use their hot tub, go and hang out in their winter garden before you get ready to go out to dinner. Dinner that night, I say you head into Planta in River North. Planta is a plant-based restaurant, which I am not vegetarian. Your girl eats a lot of meat. However, Planta is just one of the coolest, best meals I've ever had. I know vegetarian food can be really good, don't get me wrong. However, this just blew me away. Like, it's one of the best meals I've ever had, and the fact that it doesn't have meat, I shouldn't be surprised, but I find it like oddly surprising. It's delicious. The truffle udon noodles, the eggplant nigiri, it's so good. Every person I've ever brought there has been like, holy cow, this is so much better than I anticipated. And it's a really cute vibe in there. Their drinks are delicious. You just really can't go wrong. I think that one is like such a must try when you come into the city. Once you finish up at Planta, have tickets ready to go to a Broadway show. I go and see so many shows through Broadway in Chicago. All of their shows are up on their website. You can check them out. We have great shows that come in, like I'm going to see Annie next week. So excited. Hamilton's coming back into town. Book of Mormon. Chicago was here. The Lion King. Chicago's just a great spot to be able to see some of these really, really incredible Broadway shows at a much cheaper price than you'd be able to see them in New York City. And our theaters are incredible and beautiful. So such a fun way to spend a night. Highly recommend. All right, starting off strong for Sunday morning, I recommend hopping on the Red Line and going into Chinatown for dim sum for brunch. Dim sum is dumplings, but dim sum typically is a brunch food. Like, it's not your pancakes and things. So like for some Americans, they could be like, what? No. However, dim sum typically is like a brunch food. Chinatown here is such a cool and unique thing that Chicago has. So I highly recommend going down and checking that out, going and grabbing some dumplings and then walking around a bit. Triple Crown is my favorite for dim sum, but I know most people like Ming Hin more. If you are someone who's like, I cannot eat pot stickers for breakfast, number one, can't relate. Number two, totally understand though. From there, what I would do instead is go and check out the Chicago Starbucks Roastery. It is super cool. It's 4 stories. The top story does cocktails. One of the stories has food. There are really unique like craft coffee drinks you can get on their like experimentation floor, and it's really fun just to watch them make them. However, my warning on this is on a Sunday morning, the line could be crazy. Sometimes the line is very, very long and you have to wait in it, which I hate. And sometimes it's totally fine. But that would be a great place to go and get a cool coffee. And it's fun just to walk up Michigan Ave all the way to the Roastery. It's a cool spot. I do recommend. Note on that one as well, though, I have had multiple friends get pickpocketed in the Roastery. So be very aware of your surroundings. I don't know why that one's a hot spot, but I feel like I just know too many people who that's happened to there. From there, whether you're in Chinatown or you're on Michigan Ave, once you have finished having breakfast, I do recommend going to Sears Tower and going to the Skydeck. When I moved to Chicago, it took me years to go to the Skydeck. I really thought it was going to be pretty overrated. However, they redid it all and it's really cool. You go through this whole like Chicago museum area downstairs, which is very interactive, and there's some great photo spots before you go up to the sky deck. And I just think they've made it really well thought out. And when you go through that downstairs area, it shows off the city in a really, really neat way. It talks about different events and festivals and the different neighborhoods and the personalities of them and the trains. I was really impressed by it. I do think it is worthwhile to go. If you've been before, but you haven't been since they redid it, you might want to check it out again. If it's a cloudy day, maybe don't go to the sky deck, just because you won't be able to see very much from up there. I've been up there when it was cloudy, and when you're in the glass box, it just basically looked like a whiteout. But if you come on a clear day, you can see to Indiana, you can see so far out west. It is very, very, very neat. In the event that it is a cloudy day in Chicago and the sky deck is not worth it, I would probably recommend to go to the aquarium. I do think the aquarium is just so much better than the Field Museum. The aquarium is quite a touristy thing to do, but I was really impressed by it. It's a pretty stinking cool aquarium. And I've been to quite a few aquariums, but I did really enjoy that. So that could be a good like ollie-oop if your weather's really bad, because you're gonna wanna stay inside then. After you finish up at the sky deck, I recommend heading back into West Loop and grabbing late lunch, early dinner. I'm assuming that you're gonna be flying out later that day, so this will probably be your last meal. And I think you really can't go wrong with going to Parlor Pizza. Parlor has a couple of locations throughout the city, and their pizza is just really good, and they have some really unique ones. But I feel like that's a Chicago staple. People love Parlor Pizza. I love Parlor Pizza. It's good pizza. Another option if pizza's not really what you're going for is head into Time Out Market. Time Out is so cool. They have a huge bar with delicious drinks. The El Guapo is my go-to. And there's different food stands that rotate out, and they're all of like really popular Chicago restaurants. So that's a great spot if you're with a group and you guys can't decide on what you want, or if you just want to try a couple of different things from different hot spots, go to Time Out and grab a couple of the different dishes from there. That's a great place to have a final meal in Chicago. After that, head back to Sentral, grab your bags, and it's time to head home. If you do this itinerary, please let me know. Oh my God, if someone did this itinerary and made a TikTok and tagged me in it, I think I'd cry. I'd be so excited. I hope you guys liked this. I really spent a lot of time thinking through what I would do if I had friends flying in and we were gonna go and do like just a whole tourist weekend. That would be it. If you have any recommendations of things to sub out, feel free to comment those in as well, and other people can go through the comments and see if there's things that might click better for them. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. As always, hit that big red subscribe button because I post 2 videos a week and I would love for you to follow along. Thanks so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.
Don't wanna come down. Caught up in a long free fall. You got